Uh, we're going to start here real quick. I know there's been bingo players waiting for this, so we have a few minutes that we want to get your time just before we start. So give us 5 minutes. So what we're going to be doing, just a quick thing, is that we had a committee that was working to come up with a governance structure, and they're reporting back to the community. That's going to be 15 minutes. Right after that is bingo. So give us 20 minutes to do some things, and then we're right into bingo. Everyone will get a seat of cards, and then we'll start with that, okay? Just before we do that, yeah. What did you have, Kathleen? Yeah. Oh, all right. All right, before? All right. So, there's a couple of things I wanted to say. Thanks for everyone coming out. We had a really good day yesterday. We probably was 100 steaks stored from them yesterday, so we apologize. We didn't expect that many people coming out, so thank you for coming out. But there's other thank yous that I wanted to do is that there's a group of people behind this that does a lot of work and don't get paid for it, and I wanted to acknowledge them. One is Michelle. Of course, this is the backbone of our organization. The other one is Tanya. But there's other people. Desmer, you want to raise your hand to and Clint Latender, is he around? Yeah. So these guys put their time and effort into this, and it takes a lot of planning. You've seen the amount of planning and a lot of, and then one more last person I forgot to mention is Marnie. Marnie Shooter is the one in the pink, and she's been very instrumental in this one too, okay? All right, with that, there's a quick presentation for the winners of the cornhole. Desmer, do you want to call my wife to come in, if that's, my wife, yeah.
First one to do axe throwing for Dennis.
Dennis, axe throwing.
Dennis.
His name is Relic, but it's not Dennis.
I need a picture. You want to take that with him? I'll take a picture of you two?
Yeah.
Oh, Leslie's there.
Leslie.
I'll do this.
Yeah, do the next one.
Okay, so our cornhole tournament was kind of took a life of its own on, and we went from 8 teams to I don't even know, 30, 40 teams. It took us quite a long time to play it, but it was good. It was a really good turnout. So first place on the A side goes to Norman and Sharon.
She carried us. I didn't do anything.
Second place goes to Kevin and Jean.
Kevin and Jean won the moose calling yesterday too.
And then we decided to have a B side. And on the B side, Glenn and Dale took first. Right?
Sure hope so. You guys beat Sheldon in him? Yeah. All right.
And then fourth was Sheldon and Ronnie.
All right. So we're going to do a 15-minute presentation, then we'll go right into bingo. So people, just bear with us. We just wanted to quickly go through this presentation. Save questions for after. Come after the bingo, and they'll be here to answer questions. But we just wanted to get the information out. So, Dacia? So, Dacia, let's go. All right. What's that? No, we don't need to thank me. No, we don't need to.
Let's say thank you to Norm. We can't leave him out.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have a quiet voice, so I'm going to use a microphone. We don't want to take a lot away from the day, but we just wanted to say hello and give a little quick report to the community to follow up on some work that a group of people has been doing on behalf of Kelly Lake for the last few months. So before we do that very quickly, I'll just introduce myself again, and my colleague and partner in this work, Marcus, will do the same. So my name is Dacia, and I've met most, if not all of you, over the last almost 3 years that we've been working with the community. And over that time, the work has evolved into helping to support a very step-by-step process to bring a government to Community Lake by working with community members to think about what that looks like and what that should mean for Kelly Lake. Marcus, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hello, everybody. I know that most of you as well. I'm Marcus Hadley. I'm working with Dacia on the governance project, and it's been a great pleasure, and it's our opportunity here to do a quick report out to you and talk a little bit about next steps. So very quick, and we'll move on to bingo.
Yeah, so this is to follow up from the meeting that you'll remember that many of us were at in Good Fair. So that was in June, on June 10th, I believe, where the community got together and they said, yeah, we want to start really making some steps forward towards having a government for Kelly Lake. And we want a group of volunteers to start to do that work for us and to move forward step by step in setting that foundation. So that group has been getting together every 2 weeks, and so this is an opportunity to share that work and that progress with all of you, because you're all collected here for the celebration the last couple of days, and then to encourage you to come for the next community meeting, which will happen here on August 16th. So I'm going to get into the very quick report and presentation, and then we'll let you get back to bingo. So if you'll remember at that community meeting, a very clear objective was set, and that was to help the Kelly Lake community determine its own government. So one unified government that would help represent Kelly Lake and help ensure that all of the services that you want to come into the community can come in, but also so that your rights are well protected and represented. So we had the conversation at that time. If that's what we want to do, if we want to get towards a government for Kelly Lake, how will we do that? And so in the last community meeting, as you'll remember, we talked about a few steps. And so the first step, what we kind of called phase one, was to have the working group come together. So that was when a number of people volunteered their time and their effort towards coming together and having those first conversations around how to move forward and how to bring a governance committee into place that will help to do the groundwork for establishing a government for Kelly Lake. So we've worked through phase 1 out of 3, and so what we're reporting on today and what we're going to have a really detailed conversation with you about on August 16th is the first part of this 3-step journey towards that government. So just to give you a little bit of a sense of what that has looked like, over the past few months, this has been the trajectory of the meetings that have happened and what has come out of each of them and what we can expect to happen going forward in the near future. So in May, the Elders Committee came together and they helped to provide support and direction to this whole process. And then in June, you'll remember June 10th, we all met in Good Fair and we had that first meeting to help get the working group established and to give it support to do the first phase of work. So that working group over the last 2 months has been meeting every 2 weeks. So that's a lot of time and a lot of work that has gone on in order to bring this support forward and to create the basis for the governance committee. So we've now found ourselves in August. So here we are at Kelly Lake Days reporting on that work and setting the stage for a community meeting that'll happen on August 16th back here again, a dinner meeting. And then what that will do is ensure that the community is part of the conversation around confirming what that governance committee will look like and who its members will be. And then we think that maybe that will lead into a vote for the governance committee in September, but we'll learn if that's the case from you in the meeting that will take place August 16th. So just to give you a little bit more information on the working group. So the working group, Mama Wihatoskek, is the name that was given to the working group. And how that came about was in thinking about what the working group was really doing. So it came together to mean a group of people who are working together, and of course working together on behalf of the community of Kelly Lake. So a little bit more about that, the Mama Wihatoskek group membership and what that group has looked like and what it's done. So if you'll remember, in June, we had a number of people identify themselves in front of the community to say, I would be happy to be part of this working group and to contribute my time and efforts towards doing this work. So the group is full of volunteers. It has been supported by the Elders Committee, so all of the members of the Kelly Lake Elders Committee are part of that group and have been attending the meetings and providing input and support and feedback. And as well, the committee includes not only elders, but youth, people that live from Kelly Lake, and then also some people that may not live in Kelly Lake, but come to attend the meetings and are very interested in supporting this journey and ensuring that the community moves towards its own government. So the working group had two tasks that the community gave it. The first of those was to develop a terms of reference for the governance committee, and the second was to recommend a voting process through which the membership for that governance committee would be determined. So those two key things. On June 10th, the community said, working group, go and do this work and then come back and let us know what that looks like so that we can support it, we can give our input and advice and recommendations, and as a complete community we'll agree on what these things will look like moving forward. So in order to do that work, the working group has had a series of meetings, and we just wanted to report out on what has happened in each of them. So the first meeting, the group came together and they sat down with their own terms of reference, so those things that define what the group would do, and made sure that everyone as part of the working group knew what that looked like, contributed to what it said, and agreed. So it established its own terms of reference, and it also decided how it will make its own decisions. And moving forward, every decision made in the working group was made by that agreed upon decision-making process. And what that turned out to be was that more than half of the working group members all had to agree, and then the Elders Committee members that were present had to unanimously support that decision. And so that worked quite well, and in the end, it turned out that the decisions happened far more by consensus, so everyone just coming to agreement than by a majority, so that was very helpful. In the second meeting, the group discussed general ideas for the governance committee, and so they talked a lot about if we have a governance committee to do this work for us, what should that look like, what should they focus on? In order for them to give recommendations on a terms of reference for the governance committee. In the third meeting, the the working group developed a draft terms of reference and voting process for the governance committee. So we put together some details for that. Everyone went away, thought about that a little bit more. In the fourth meeting, which just happened this past Thursday, the group looked at what those documents looked like, and we walked through them very carefully and agreed upon those drafts so that they're ready for presentation to the community on August 16th. And there will be a final meeting on August 17th after the community meeting so that the working group can make sure that everything that community says during that community meeting can be integrated into the final version of that terms of reference and that voting process. And then the work of the working group will have ended, and we'll be moving on to preparing for the governance committee to take on its work. So just a couple more quick things that we thought might be helpful to share. And the first is we keep talking about a terms of reference for the governance committee. And so what do we mean by that? What is a terms of reference? So a terms of reference establishes what the governance committee will do, so what its work will be. It will identify who the members of the governance committee are, and it builds in a few things that are really important. And the first is that it ensures that the governance committee will report on everything it does directly to the community, and it will confirm that ultimately it's the community through its input and decision making that confirms what each decision or each way forward will be at every step. And so the second piece of work that the governance committee has been doing, that voting, or the working group has been doing, the voting process, what does that mean? So the voting process is a recommended way to determine who the members of the governance committee would be. The other thing that it strives to do is ensure that there is full community participation in the way that that decision is made, the voting process, and who sits on the governance committee. And it ensures that it's a way for everyone to experience and learn from a voting process before you get to a position where you're voting for a government, so before you have a full and formal election. So it's kind of a way for the community to learn how you would like an election to work. And then the other thing that we wanted to touch on based on that community meeting that happened on June 10th is the idea of what the governance committee will help to do. So the important work of the governance committee will be to help build foundational aspects into the governance process for the community so that by the time you're ready to elect a government, you have these really foundational pieces in place, and the government can kind of hit the ground running and move forward really quickly with its work. And so some of the things that we had talked about in June were that the governance committee would develop an initial constitution for Kelly Lake. It'll help to make decisions on the structure of the government. So the governance committee will think a lot about what the government should look like for Kelly Lake. It will bring some ideas forward, it will share them with the community, and it will help finalize what that will look like. It'll confirm an election code, so the way through which you will elect your government, and then it will convene the election for the government of Kelly Lake, so it'll set that up. And once that happens, that's the end of the work of the governance committee, and it hands things over to the next step, which will be the government for Kelly Lake. So the most important part of this very quick update and presentation are the next steps. So the first important next step that I keep referring to is that community-wide meeting on August 16th. So that's when that voting process and that terms of reference for the governance committee will be shared with the community for your input, your feedback, so that everyone together can make a decision on what those things look like before they're put into play. After that, and based on the decisions that you make at that August 16th meeting, there'll be another meeting that will happen on September 9th, and during that meeting, whatever you decide for the voting process will start. So if you would like to nominate people to run as candidates for the governance committee and have a very formal process, or if you would like people to come forward and, you know, whatever it is that you decide in terms of the way that that will look, that's when that will happen. There'll be a meeting specifically for candidates to be brought forward, to put themselves forward for the governance committee. And then based on, as well, your decisions around the way that the voting process should go, there may be an opportunity to have a vote, a formal vote, to establish the membership of the governance committee. And if so, we wanted to set a date for that really far in advance so that anyone from the community or that is really keen to support the community moving forward can come be part of that. So that date has been set for September 23rd at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's all we really wanted to cover. We really wanted to focus on the August 16th meeting and encourage everyone to come out and be part of that decision-making process for voting and for the terms of reference. And then also we wanted to share that there's an active Facebook page and a YouTube channel where reports from all of the meetings that the working group has had and all of the community meetings are shared as well in short video clips. So if you wanted to go back and see those, if you haven't already had the opportunity to do so, they're all there ready for you, and it's a good way of keeping up with what's going on from here forward. Oh, sorry. Thank you. One final thing. For anyone that wants to see that initial draft version of the terms of reference and voting process, so this is what we will talk about on August 16th. We have some copies just to start sharing that out so that you have time to think about that before August. But that's the August 16th meeting. We'll go through them all very slowly and carefully, but we do have some copies available as well. Thank you.
Thanks for your time and having your patience. But we have our last presentation before we go to bingo. We started with a rocky relationship with them way back a few years ago. But since then, they've been really in our corner, in Kelly Lake's corner. And we wanted to do a presentation to them. So what we have, a couple of gifts for you. Dacia and Marcus, can you come up? And these gifts are, I think I mentioned that pre-tradition is that you give a blanket when you have visitors, and it represents a lot of different things. So we're giving a blanket each, but also a photo of about 35 people that started off on this big journey that they have too. So I would like everyone to say thank you for coming to helping us.